La 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 la. German masala. Sit back and listen to German masala. Sit back and listen to German masala.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the next episode of German Masala Podcast. This is your host, Harbir.
And I'm your other host, Alex.
How this works is we take turns and come up with topics to talk about, and the other person is not supposed to know about the topic at all. And that's always the case with us. The other person doesn't know.
Yes, I'm completely clueless what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, but before that, let's talk a little bit about last time's topic. Last time, Alex, you came up with a topic and it was about do's and don'ts in India, right? So if you go to India as a foreigner, what you should not do and what you should do. And I think it was like the most successful podcast we have ever made.
Yeah, at least on YouTube, we had a huge spike in viewers. So yeah, I mean, it seems like some people enjoyed it. So that was good.
Yeah. Did you get any feedback from any friend, family, someone who, or any emails?
Actually, no. Well, a little bit. Like I always get some feedback from some people close to me,
Yeah.
but nothing like super out of the ordinary. Just I think in general, I don't know, a lot of people enjoyed it. Yeah.
Nice. I got a little bit of feedback as well. Someone said this was a great podcast because we talked about India. And they were like, okay, your podcast, as you were saying last time as well, that, our podcast is called German Masala Podcast. And when people watch it, they have certain expectations that we are going to talk about Germany and India. So we said, and the person said, yeah, that was a great thing about this time's episode. And yeah, I agree to that as well. And, keeping up with that theme, this time, I think we should talk something special about Germany. And that is the Christmas time in Germany.
Aha, all right. That was a fitting topic for this episode.
Exactly. We are almost there. Christmas is, I think, 10 days away now, right? So,
Yeah, it's
and
crazy. Wait, this
yeah,
this makes this officially right because we switched to a 3-week schedule. I guess this is the last episode of this year, right?
100%. This is the last episode of this year, and this year has not been an easy one for every one of us, 2020. And also, that's the reason I chose this topic to end on a festive note, to talk about a special festival in this country, right? So, Alex, tell me, how is Christmas for you and for your family? What kind of traditions do you have? Please talk about it.
Oh wow. Christmas time. Well, that's a tough one. I think first of all, let me preface this by saying everybody is experiencing Christmas or the holiday season in general differently. I'm of Christian denomination, and obviously there are different denominations all around the world, especially also in Germany. So people from different religions and different, backgrounds may, um, you know, just experience the Christmas time or the holiday time over, December, and so in general differently. That being said, let's talk about how I experienced it, or I think how a fair amount of Germans would experience this. So, counter to, because I also lived in the US, for example, counter to the US and Germany, here we celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve, which is 24th of December, which some people still think is funny, right? My brother is currently living in Canada. So he's like, yeah, I have nothing to do on the 24th because everybody celebrates on the 25th.
So that's not the case everywhere. I thought Christmas is celebrated on 24th.
No. So
Okay.
for example, in the US, like the 24th is basically, obviously it's super close to Christmas and it's a festive day, I would say, but no, it's celebrated on the 25th, and we're celebrating here on the night of the 24th. So in Germany, the 24th of December is officially a half working day for most of the people. All the grocery stores and everything is still open up until noon, so midday.
12,
Yeah,
12, 12 o'clock, I think.
exactly,
Yeah.
like 12 noon. And it's interesting. Some people, go Christmas shopping like on that day, like last minute, which actually giving the new like lockdown measures, which they have just been decided, they will take effect on Wednesday, probably when this episode publishes. You know, these will probably prevent people from buying Christmas gifts, at least in stores, on that same day. Anyway, like this is what it's like. So we celebrate on the 24th. Usually it's a rather family focused festivity, right? So on that day, families will usually get together. It's for me, it's been always we're usually celebrating with grandparents and like my mother's brother. So I guess that would be my uncle. So that's usually like a small group of people coming together. Sometimes also my sister's boyfriend or some other people, but that's usually the group we're celebrating in. So pretty small family circle. Hasn't really been extended that much over the years. We tend to, or at least not this year, but the other years, we tend to do something like on the first day of Christmas or second day of Christmas. Usually, I think it's second day of Christmas, where we get together and have like a brunch together in a restaurant or something. But the main thing is on the 24th. For me, that's the real Christmas. The other thing is still nice. You have 2 days off. So in Germany, 25th and 26th are officially off work, and you get to experience the time with your, I guess, extended family, at least in my case. And obviously when I was a kid, like that was the time where you get to play with all your new gifts. You had your presents, you unwrap them on the 24th, obviously. And I don't know, it's super fun. So that's what, that's how it's mostly done. And on the 24th specifically, I guess we'll get into that as well. But obviously if you are of a denomination, it's usual, I guess, that you do end up going to church on that day. It's completely different. Some people don't go at all. Obviously, some people go. There's a midnight mass. I think it's like at 10 p.m. or something. But we usually tend to go. I think there's one at like 4 p.m. or something like that. And then later on, you grab something to eat. We usually do raclette. The melted cheese.
Oh yeah.
And,
I love it.
It's so great. Actually, it's been alternated. I think we used to do, or we still do, the fondue. Like a lot of times we also do like fondue and raclette at the same time. But
can you tell me the difference? I mean, our listeners, the difference between fondue and raclette a little bit, because both are similar, right?
Both are, well, not really. I mean, the fondue, it's they can be similar. So fondue is a big pot of boiling, and it can be different things. It can be cheese, but we don't do the cheese fondue. A big pot of ours is boiling oil, basically, it's basically like oil or some fat stuff, whatever. And then you put pieces of, in our case, meat or mushrooms, or I guess there's whatever you really want to put on there, and then it's basically fried. You put that stick of meat and whatever you have into that boiling bucket of hot oil, and then you have a tiny piece of meat which is ready to be consumed after that. And raclette is basically a bigger device where you have tiny pans, and in these tiny pans you can put stuff like cheese, but also you can put stuff in like boiled potatoes or some whatever, paprika, or a bunch of different stuff that you can put in there. Bell pepper, I think it's called.
Yeah. Would you say raclette is traditional German Christmas food? Because a lot of people in Zurich, which is again, Swiss Germany, sort of, because they speak German over there. I know a lot of people eat that over there. And when you think about raclette, at least when I think about it, I think about Zurich and the mountains over there, right? So would you say this is also traditional German Christmas food?
I don't know. Actually, like in my extended friend circle, I do know some people that do it for Christmas. So, or at least for New Year, stuff like that, like around that season. So I want to say like it's been growing on people, but the really traditional thing is having like a big bird, like people in the US do for Thanksgiving. Not a turkey, but what is that? Guns? What is that called?
Guns, yeah.
Goose, right?
Okay. Maybe. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure.
Or, duck, like having Ente, which is duck, like a festive meal. Um, Also, in the past, we did rouladen, which is like rolled up meat,
Yeah.
which is also super nice. So there's different stuff. If you think about it, I think the most German is having sausages and like cold potato salad.
Ah, on Christmas.
Yes, because
Okay.
it has a little bit of the tradition that I think it's stemming from. I'm not entirely sure. People may correct me on this, but I think it's stemming from that people on Christmas Eve don't want to be in the kitchen and spend time in the kitchen. So you have something prepared, which is just out of the fridge, and then you just heat up some sausages and some hot water, and then you're basically done.
Interesting. Um, are we talking about northern part of Germany, or do you know anything about, like, if in the southern part of Germany the traditions are same, or do they differ? Because I know, I mean, they always talk about, when they talk about Christmas markets, they say, oh, the Christmas market in Nuremberg is like one of the best, right, in the southern part of Germany. I will talk about it a bit more because I was there once, and I like the Hamburg one more. But anyways,
Really? Well, that
yeah.
is interesting. Okay. I'm excited to hear about that.
Well, as we have talked about it, let me tell a little bit about that right now, I guess. So I was there with my wife, I think 2 years ago, and we were really, really excited. We were building this up in our mind the whole time, like Nuremberg Christmas market. Everyone talks about it. It's going to be awesome. But then we went there. Of course, it's very, very big. It's interesting. You get all the stalls normally that you will have, like, you can have your mulled wine, I think. Glühwein, is it called mulled wine?
Yeah, I don't
It is
know.
mulled
Like
wine, right?
hot wine, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
It's
all
a
the
thing.
other, yeah. And Kartoffelpuffer, which is basically fried potato patties, sort of thing. Really, really yummy, by the way. All those things were there. But because it was so large and we did not really know which parts were the best, we didn't enjoy as much as we do here in Hamburg. That's my point. So maybe it was just because we live in Hamburg and we know where to go here. And I think maybe that was the reason that I like the Hamburg one more. But anyways, I know that there are some traditions which are different in southern part of Germany than in the northern part of Germany, right?
Yes, definitely. A bunch. For example, take Oktoberfest, right? That's definitely that's specifically a Munich thing, but also if you're in Stuttgart, there's the Stuttgarter Wiesn, which is
Yeah.
also a type of festive activity where a bunch of people get together and drink beer.
Yeah.
So not this year, but still. So there are definitely different traditions. I am honestly not aware of super huge differences when it comes to Christmas. And I have to say, I'm actually rather uneducated when it comes to Christmas traditions, like spanning from northern to southern Germany. I know there are slight regional differences, and obviously for the denominations as well, a little bit of difference there. But overall, I want to say that it's still, celebrated on the 24th. There's, still like the food options may differ slightly, but usually they're around that.
Yeah. You talked about denominations. So I think southern Germany is more of Catholic denomination, whereas in northern part of the country you will find more Protestants, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's if I want to say, like, I haven't looked at any statistics recently, but yes, so at least that's how I learned it back in the days.
Yeah. Interesting. And do you have Christmas tree as well at home, or your
Yes.
parents?
Well, yeah. So I currently don't have one in my apartment. So when I lived in Berlin, I studied in Berlin and then I worked in Berlin for some years. And back then, I did have a tree, and actually, it's still in my like attic up there. It's a little
The
fake
same
Christmas tree.
tree?
Yeah, that same tree. Well, it's a fake Christmas tree, and it's like a
Ah,
super
okay.
cheap one. It's not even a nice one. It's like one of those with the paper like needles and stuff. But you know what? Honestly, when you put like some lights in there and you add some ornaments and stuff, it looks nice. But I haven't gotten around to putting a Christmas tree up here in my Hamburg apartment yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe. Not sure. Probably not. But
Probably
yes,
not
so
this
my
year.
parents, yes, so you would get a Christmas tree, which is also interesting because in a lot of households, at least in the US, people put up their Christmas tree like basically after Thanksgiving, right? Maybe a week or so after, but definitely way ahead of Christmas Eve and the Christmas days. Here in Germany, I want to say most people do this rather late. Like it's a tradition for some families to have the Christmas tree decorated on the day before Christmas, so on the 23rd or maybe even on the 24th in the morning. So people may go out earlier than this to buy the actual tree, but they will just leave it outside, give it a little bit of water, and then bring it inside at the last minute because we tend to buy real trees, and real trees will, at some point lose their what do you call needles, right? So so having it outside will help keep it fresh and stuff, and then you bring it inside where it's warmer, and that will hopefully prolong the life of the Christmas tree.
Yeah. And the children are not really supposed to see the tree until it's decorated, right? I've seen this in many families happening.
So that's a weird one, honestly, because in my family, it's never been that way.
Oh,
we
okay.
always put up the ornaments together. It was kind of a family tradition to be on there, and everybody's there, and we're decorating it together. So no, actually, for me, it's never been that way. And when I heard this, because I definitely heard this from other people as well, so it's a tradition for some people. But when I heard this, I was like, that is weird. But
Okay. And I think one of the most important parts of Christmas are the presents as well. Where do you keep the presents? Are they kept underneath the tree?
Yeah, they actually are. I personally have a weird thing where I try to keep my presents not under the tree, and then when we actually sit together as a family, I'll bring them down and put them under the tree. Just because some of my presents, I do wrap them, but some things are given away by shape or form or something. But yeah, so for a lot of the presents, there will be, at least at some point, they will most likely all be under the tree. And then, it's family style to how to open them. We usually take turns, having each one open up a gift, and then the other one, like someone else opens a gift. So everyone can, appreciate a little bit of what's being given to other people. But that differs. When we were like smaller children, though, and I'm really like, although we're talking about Germany this time, I definitely want to hear how it is in India. But when we were smaller, so it's definitely my parents who ordered this. Yeah, definitely. So anyway, my parents ordered ordered people to dress up as Santa Claus and then come to so that was like, as a kid, that was the special moment of the year. So usually we learned something like a poem or something else, right? Learned a piece on piano to play on piano, stuff like that. And we would be waiting, and then the Santa Claus would come with a big wagon of all the presents, and he would drive up to our living room windows that open up to our patio outside, and he would come there, and then we would have to tell them, and he would read out of his big book, like the naughty and nice list, basically. He would say like, hey, you did this well. And obviously my parents supplied that information, and be like, so tell our oldest son that this is what he did well, and this is what he didn't do well. So obviously this, I don't know, I think it was a really good, it was just a really nice Christmas experience, because from a pedagogical, is it
I think so.
Like from a learning side,
educational.
Educational, better. From an educational side, I think it definitely helped shape, a little bit of imagination, opening you up to the world of possibilities out there, which I think is always nice. And then also it's a nice way of telling your kid, like, hey, this is what you did well, and this is what you didn't do well, from a outside perspective. So that is what happened. Do you have something like this in India at all?
So you mean giving presents?
Well, giving presents, sure, but then also having them delivered by a mostly guy in like a big red suit with like white fur around, like Santa Claus, right?
So I mean, I have to say, so like, as I was saying last time as well, like 2% of Indian population are either Sikhs, Christians, Buddhists, so Christians will celebrate Christmas over there in India as well, and there will be presents, there will be traditions as well. There will be Santa Claus as well in those families that celebrate the Christmas, right? From the area where I'm from, there aren't really many Christians over there, so I wasn't, I would say, lucky enough to be part of the celebrations when I was in India. But when I came to Germany, I lived at my sister's place for a few years, and they always celebrate Christmas properly. And that's where we usually are at Christmas as well, because, children are there, and now the children are older. My nephew is 20 now. So, but anyways, when I came here to Germany, he was, I think, wow, maybe 12. No, well, he was very young, 12 years ago. So
12,
he was
so
8.
8, yeah.
8, yeah. Oh, time flies. And my niece was like 3. And, and in that age, children want to be part of Christmas and want to celebrate everything. So we used to have like pretty normal German Christmas every year, I would say, where we will gather around, sit together on 24th. We'll have festive meal, and people will come, and not just, extended family isn't here in Germany, but so our friends will come and we will celebrate together. I used to love it. Really. And in India, there are, Christmas is not that big. Of course, not a lot of people do celebrate Christmas, but there are other festivals, like there's Diwali, which is also called Festival of Lights. And in that festival, it's in November usually. That's the main one for Indians. It's a Hindu festival, but because most of the people in India belong to that religion, it has also become a cultural thing for a lot of people now. Almost everyone in India celebrate it. And that's why when you were talking about like not all people celebrating Christmas in Germany, because it's mainly a Christian festival, I think it's also a cultural festival now. It's not like, I think religious meaning is still there, importance is still there. But for me, for example, I'm always happy. I'm always in a good mood on Christmas because it's also a cultural thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely right. Even though that some people may not, take part in all the festive acts, part, whatever you want to call it, of Christmas in the Christian sense of Christmas, I would definitely say that you can't escape it at all. Like, all the shops have Christmas specials on sale. You will see Christmas trees all around. And it is just it's a cultural part. You talked about the Christmas markets, right? So Christmas markets are a huge thing in Germany. Unfortunately, not this year, but people go to them and enjoy a hot wine and other stuff. So it is a cultural thing, and I see people, coming here for Christmas markets, for other types of cultural, let's call it what it is, like events basically that are taking place around the Christmas time, which may have been influenced or may have originated in a time when, it was all purely religious, or not religious at all. There are certain traditions that, escape from different things in the world, but still. So that is definitely true. But it's interesting. So would your parents usually like also come to Germany to your sister's house, and would you celebrate together, or would your parents not celebrate at all? Because I guess they're still in India, right?
Well, they are never here at Christmas. They come whenever they come to Germany. They come in summers because summers are so much nicer.
And it's warmer. They'll probably freeze.
Exactly, that's the thing. And in India, it's quite cold where I'm from. It can get like 5 degrees, even sometimes 0 degrees in winters, which is quite cold considering there's not really proper heating system in most of the houses over there. Because if it gets 5 degrees or even 0, it'll be that way for 2 days maybe, right? And then it'll again be 10-15 degrees. So people don't really need this kind of heating system over there. So if they come here in winters, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very cold for them.
Too cold. But would they celebrate like with you kind of Christmas, or would they completely, separate from this? Because you just said that you lived with your sister. I actually didn't know this, that you lived with your sister when you first came here. But anyway, so you lived with your sister, and obviously your sister, she also grew up with you. Basically, you grew up together, right? And then she came to
Yeah,
Germany
of course.
before you.
Yeah, she came to Germany before me because she got married to a German Indian person, and so of course she moved here
And
to Germany.
did he
Yeah.
bring kind of the Christmas tradition to her? And is that how they started?
I think so, because they still have a lot of German friends. They live in Buchholz, which is a small town outside of Hamburg, like 50 kilometers. And I mean, of course, they only have German friends, and that's why they live in that culture. So you adapt, you integrate yourself. Integration is a whole another topic I want to talk to you about sometime. I thought about talking this time, but I was like, no, let's finish the year in a festive mood. So anyways, of course, you integrate yourself. Your children go to school with other children who celebrate all the festivities over here in this country. Then obviously it's very natural that you start to do those things as well, right? So
Yeah, I mean, it would be weird if you're a child, attending school and stuff, and like everybody talks about their presents when they get back to school after Christmas, and you're the only one. It's like, no. I mean, it's interesting, and I am for cultural diversity and having, different experiences and even educating people about them. But in this instance, I do think it makes sense to. You don't have to like fully embrace it in a way of change your religion. Obviously that's not the point, but adapting a little bit I think is probably a good idea here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I see some people are reluctant to say Merry Christmas to me. They would usually go, oh, Happy Holidays. I'm like, you can say Merry Christmas to me. I will say Merry Christmas because it's fine. If it makes you happy, it doesn't have to have any kind of religious meaning for me. I just want you to be happy, and I will definitely say Merry Christmas to you. And if you say it to me, I'll be happy as well. Why not?
Yeah, that is, oh my, I mean, we both of us, we actually work on stuff a little bit on the side, right? That is about inclusive language and stuff like that. So that one is always so I'm super happy to hear this from you, because obviously if you live in a country that's mostly, people that are celebrating Christmas and you say Merry Christmas, I don't think this is something where you should be punished for, or where people should say like, oh, this is, because obviously you want to wish people in a happy time of the year. But at the same time, I feel like it's something where we all are growing together as an entire world, which means that obviously traditions are shared more broadly across the globe. And obviously the Western culture of the US and, all the Hollywood movies around Christmas and, in entire Europe and stuff like that, we are celebrating Christmas. So saying Merry Christmas is a big part of the whole thing. And I'm wondering if at this point, Merry Christmas is more of a greeting, like a hello or have a nice evening, rather than a certain, specific aspect of this mostly Christian origin festivity, where even if you're, a Hindu or a Sikh or, from a Muslim or some other denomination, it is just, like you just say Merry Christmas because it's like a greeting, like a saying, rather than it's an attack on forcing someone to accept that you're not, celebrating Christmas, something like that. I'm really torn between that, because I feel like obviously people should try to make an effort to be as inclusive as possibly. And if it's only a word that you have to say differently, like Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas, I feel like that's a small thing to ask. On the other side, Merry Christmas, it's like a greeting at this point, I feel like also.
Yeah, of course. And the thing is, if I don't like it, I will tell you. I will tell you. You say Merry Christmas, I will tell you Happy Holidays. That it's as simple as that. I think. Of course, I think using inclusive language is a great thing, and you should always try to do that. But again, we don't want to, and we have had this discussion like a lot of times. You don't want to start policing anyone's language, right? You don't
No.
want to start censoring and telling people what they have to say and what they can't say.
Yeah, definitely not. That's not it.
Again, we got a little bit into politics.
It always takes this turn. But Christmas time, back to the Christmas festivities.
Part of life as well, yeah. We did touch upon Christmas markets a couple of times. Do you want to explain a little, like how they look like, what's there? I don't think I did it like any kind of justice when I tried to explain. So
Okay, but I actually think Christmas markets are such a big thing. I didn't realize this until a couple of years ago, that people are like, "Oh, you have these Christmas markets in Germany." So Christmas markets are basically what the name says. They're a market, kind of like, where you could buy fresh vegetables and stuff like that, where you have a bunch of different booths where you can buy stuff, but for Christmas times. So you'll have the kind of sometimes regional, but mostly seasonal foods that you would get in this time. And then you would also have a bunch of crafts and, basically little shops where you can buy certain things. And usually these Christmas markets are in a town or town center, or at least in a plaza. So you wouldn't usually find them like outside of cities. You'll find them integrated within cities, and some cities take it to the max. They'll have like different markets in every like little kind of corner, and they will have different booths here and there and different kind of themes. And it will, like, the main thing I think why people go there is it's just like, it's the definition of, Christmas, if you want to put it that, right? It looks, there are different ones that look differently. So that's why you said the Nuremberg one is really known for being a super beautiful one. And we can argue about which is more nice, like which is looks better and stuff like that. But overall, they look just, I love them. There's lights decorating every tiny hut, and usually they have a theme overall, right? So they will all look kind of the same from a like outside perspective. Not the different markets all the same, but like within one market, the houses would all have a similar theme to them. And usually there would be a Christmas tree or something, a decoration that would be a centerpiece of a market as well. And then what is like the best thing for me is like the foods you can buy there. So, apart from stuff like bratwurst and the hot wine, the mull wine you said before, you'll also be able to buy stuff like Handbrot, which is like, it's actually, this is more a southern thing, where it's like bread filled with cheese, and you can put a little bit of bacon in there. I love that. Then you can buy stuff that you usually get only on like the what is it called? Like the fair, like when, the big, roller coasters and stuff come.
Fair, I think.
Yeah, right. I think it's fair. So yeah, so then you can buy stuff which you usually can only buy at a fair, which is like, it's called Schmalzgebäck, which is little tiny fried like pockets of dough, and then you could put powdered sugar over them. So that is what I just love when I go to Christmas market.
What's your favorite thing to eat? Is it Schmalzgebäck at a Christmas market, I mean?
I don't know. I mean, Schmalzgebäck is such a, like, it's not really that Christmas-y of a food. So I don't know if it's my favorite thing. To eat, though, I have to say it's probably Handbrot. And honestly, you don't find it at a lot of places here in northern Germany. There's, as far as I remember, there's only one Christmas market in Hamburg, the one next to the big Rathaus, so the town, what is it called? Like a
town hall.
Town hall, right. Yeah, town hall. That one has like one booth where you can buy this Handbrot thing. But when you go to southern Germany, it's more of a thing there, so you can buy it more. So I really love that. But honestly, bratwurst. Like, I love the like grilled over open flame sausage, and like, I love it. What's the favorite thing for you?
At a Christmas market, Kartoffelpuffer. 100%.
Kartoffelpuffer?
Yeah,
Nice.
with Apfelmus. It's sort of an apple sauce, right?
Yeah,
a bit thicker than a usual sauce, I would say. Anyways,
yeah, it's basically like a cooked apple stew kind of thing. Yeah,
it's really tasty. Love it. It's not really healthy to eat though, so I have to, But anyways, once or twice in a year.
It's Christmas, right?
Yeah,
like at that time, you're like, all right, I'll have some of that. What's your favorite thing to drink at these Christmas markets? Because there's Glühwein, obviously the mulled wine you talked about, but then there's also Punsch, which is like usually a non-alcoholic option. Then you have the like festive drinks. What is yours?
So I usually go for punch, but mulled wine as well. I mean, it's quite tasty. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite punch? Because I know there are some that are based on like apple punch. Then there's like not wine based, but grape based punch.
I like the apple one. I really love it. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I look forward to that every
Next
year.
year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. Like, even though there's obviously not supposed to be huge crowds of people, there were like certain like little like huts, just like single huts from place to place where you could buy like a mulled wine or something.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I went to the office, I think 2 weeks ago. We went together, and then actually I came back and I had a little walk. I thought, okay, let's see the city a little bit. Of course, I was wearing a mask the whole time. And then I saw some booths over there, and people was standing outside and having mulled wine. I think that was one of the reasons why Mackel just gave a very emotional sort of lecture for her, standards. And she was like, I know people want to do those things. I know these things are important. You want to go to Christmas markets, but the situation this time doesn't allow that. Then people should stay at home.
Yeah, it's especially hard in the Christmas time because so many traditions are around bringing people together, are around even if they're not bringing people together in a sense of that you talk to like your friends and family, it's still a lot of the stuff where just people are naturally cramped together. Those Christmas markets, I love them and I hate them at the same time because they are the most freaking crowded thing ever. Like you literally push against other people. It is sometimes pretty disgusting, actually. So at the same time, I kind of miss and don't miss them because I love the experience. I like how it looks like. I like that people are having a good time. You'll hear laughter. You'll hear people, after actually a lot of people, especially in the city, after they are done working, they will just go with their colleagues, have a Glühwein, have a bratwurst, and just enjoy the time. So that is something that I definitely miss. I don't miss the crowds, to be honest. I think we could learn, if we learn anything from this pandemic, is just keep a little bit of distance even after this is all over. I'm all for that. So
what else did we learn? Did we learn that we had too many people as well?
Yeah, I don't know. So this is actually one that goes into completely different stuff. But I was recently rewatching the entire Marvel series, and Thanos. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think we'll talk about this at a different time. But I think it's less about being too many people as respecting or caring for others, and especially Christmas time is a time when you're supposed to be extra, giving to others, right? And what can you give? Like, what is a great thing to give? Obviously, it's the gift of health, like not getting other people sick. So doing your small parts, wearing your mask when you're in crowded places, whenever you're in indoor situations like in a shop or stuff, is such a small thing to do, but it can be the biggest gift, the gift of life, basically, to other people who are maybe more prone to getting sick or having serious health issues or even dying from stuff, not just coronavirus, just other things as well, right? But in this case, specifically coronavirus, I think it's a small thing that people should consider giving, and I think it's mostly about that, but it's also about how dependent we are, and I think I want to talk to you a little bit about this actually, how dependent we are from in-person shopping. And I mean, I tried to do this year, I did everything online, right? And I don't want to call myself digital native, but that's probably what I am, right? I love technology.
You are digital native.
Yeah, sure. I guess I am. So I love, technology. I love doing everything online. And I have to talk to you about this because this is driving me crazy. But usually shops are, Amazon is, hate it or love them, right? They are doing some things right. They're doing some things wrong. What they are freaking amazing at, like best ever, is delivery stuff, right? Like I can order stuff and have it the same day. Sometimes it's the next day, but they're usually on time. I had I think out of the entire year, I ordered more than I've ever ordered from Amazon in this year. I had one delivery that was off from their supposed delivery time. One. That is insane. And they're just really good with all of that, right?
Yeah.
But then I was shopping this weekend. I was shopping on IKEA, right?
Yeah.
And so they have the delivery option, which is obviously a little bit expensive because you have big furniture there, which, all right, fine, but you can do click and collect. And they even do freaking advertisements on TV for that. So they have this option where you put everything in your shopping basket. You'll say click and collect. It costs like 10 euros or something. Someone at IKEA will put all the stuff on like a big, pile for you basically. And you just go there, show them your number, and then you can pick it up. Okay. Great idea. Awesome. I love that, right? Great idea. Yeah. So I shop on IKEA, this entire thing. And, some websites, it's the same for Christmas shopping. This entire thing. And then when you go to checkout, you select the store where you want to pick this up. And half of the stuff wasn't available. But when you put it in your shopping basket, it says like available. So IKEA is doing a freaking just terrible job of like, this was my worst shopping, like online shopping experience in the recent time by far.
I hope someone from IKEA will listen to this and take note.
So. Because it's super easy. But sorry, but it's the Christmas shopping, right? That's what I was gonna get at. Like, Christmas shopping is really a big part of the Christmas experience as well.
Yeah.
But it's this time, it's also colliding with the pandemic, and I think it's showing us how dependent you can see, like after Black Friday, after the sale Friday, how the numbers have been just going up after that because, well, people are in store, and then some stores, and I don't get this, are doing promotions which are only available in store, which you cannot get online, where I'm like, you know what? That is stupid. Just give me the same stuff online. But if you want me to pay a little extra for delivery, sure, I'm happy to do that. But, give people the same options. Don't force them to come into your store in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, this will have to change. And I think this will change with the time. The whole pandemic, although it's terrible, but it did teach us few lessons as well, like how to become more innovative. So we had this team event like a few weeks ago, and usually whenever we are with clients, we will go out to restaurants, eat together, and we have events like wine tasting, etc., right? And this year we couldn't do anything like that, of course, obvious reasons. And so that's why our sales colleagues did this wine tasting event, a virtual one, and they organized it so well. So there's a company doing this, and you can give them a contract. You can say, okay, you organize everything for them. So they will create a list of people who are going to attend. They will send them emails. They will send them the stuff. It can be food. It can be wine. It can be anything. And then you will have a online meeting together. And in our meeting, there were like 60 people. And then someone was singing, and then they were tasting the wine together, eating food. So, I mean, they came up with this. I don't even want to call it innovative idea, because I think the technology is already there. You just have to use it. But they started using it, and they are doing it in a great manner, right? So they changed, they adapted. And I think a lot of the stores, like our whole sort of ecosystem, will have to adopt as well now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of new traditions are also born, right? So stuff like this, it's not only good for pandemic times, it's also good for including people who may take care of children at home who are just not able to attend, people who only work certain hours, who may not be included in events which are taking place in person at your workplace somewhere because they are not there, because they only work part-time. I think it taught us a whole lot. And also for this Christmas time where, we talked about events that are bringing people together are happening, not only with, family and friends, but also for companies and their employees, which we are too. It showed me that, honestly, not everything is terrible when it's online, and certain things are actually a lot of fun and give you more options than you would have not online. And it maybe, it's for some of my personal, experiences, it brought me closer to people than it would have otherwise, because those people are in remote locations. And usually I would never do a video call with them. I would maybe call them once or twice a year, but that's it. And this time of year, I would do video calls with family every week basically, because we are all supposed to be separate. My sister lives in her own place. I live at my own place. My mom obviously lives in her own place. My grandma's at her own place. So, but we still want to see each other. So we do video calls, right? And it's just more inclusive because wherever you are in the world, you can participate, and it's the same for everyone, right?
Agreed. So yeah, some good came out of this whole thing as
Oh,
well.
definitely. And but coming back to the Christmas shopping, because I definitely want to touch on this. It's such a big part of the holiday. So I live in northern Hamburg, and there's a big shopping center called the Alstertal Einkaufszentrum. It used to be one of the biggest one in northern Germany. I think it still is. Anyway, it's a big shopping center, and honestly, the weekends before Christmas are horror. Just pure. I sometimes I did go in there because I was actually missing a gift and I needed to buy that.
Yeah.
Never again. Like, it was just, honestly, there was nothing pleasant about this experience. People were pushing themselves around. There were big lines on checkout. Sometimes you couldn't get the gift you wanted anymore. Honestly, I would trade everything for that, just being online. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, I've had that experience as well. So I'm very lazy when it comes to buying gifts, and so I leave it right up to the last moment, and then you can't do it online anymore. So you have to go to the store. And I remember I was looking for something for my nephew, I think 4 or 5 years ago. I was so damn full. I was here in Hamburg and Europa Passage, so that's one of the other big malls here.
Also
And,
managed the EC.
yeah, worst experience I had. So now I try to buy things online.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a point to be made for in-store. Obviously the browsing experience is much better because you can see everything. But I feel like there is a point to be made for people, investing in like virtual, like basically like Google Street View, but for your shop, right?
Yeah.
Where you can see different items, you can zoom in on them. When you click on them, it will bring out the technology is there. It's nothing more of a do it kind of thing. And honestly, especially now in the Christmas time, where a lot of stores are like, oh, now it's, the lockdown again. Obviously, it's bad. I know that it's taking a toll on people's financials and on people's, like, on their livelihood if they're running a small business, sure. But honestly, there's not really an excuse to be made why you haven't set up your online business at this point. It is actually, like, there are templates online. You can do it in a couple of minutes. It is not that hard anymore. And I think it should just teach people that, online is a way to go.
Yeah. I guess it's not that hard anymore if you're digital native, if you are an older person, and you haven't really had any contact with computers and technology, then it might be a bit difficult for you. So, but then there are people who could help you in those situations.
Yeah. I don't know, but I think this is like different this year, but usually when we talked about traditions in Germany, Christmas shopping is one of them. And all the big shopping malls are, they are decorating the hell out of everything, right? It's it looks super nice. So a lot of the Christmas decorations some people go to the mall to see those Christmas decorations, which is kind of crazy, but it's super nice. So I can completely,
by the way, talking about decorations in malls, so do you know this mall near Hamburger Straße, on Hamburger Straße, actually?
Munzburg,
Yeah, exactly. And they have so many lights outside. It's so lovely. I love driving over there.
It's been like this actually for forever. Like as long as I can remember being alive, like whenever we drove past this in the Christmas time, they have this, it's basically a huge like light net. It's like a big net they put over, like, it's called the Hamburger Meile. It's not a mile long. It's less than that, but it's still a really long stretch of building and it looks great. I agree.
Okay, cool. Any last words about Christmas from your side, Alex?
Not really. I mean, it's different all around the world, but this time is a time of festivity. I think wherever you are, even if you're not celebrating Christmas actively, and have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas to those that are celebrating. And hopefully this will be one where we can get together without being physically together in a lot of ways.
Exactly. From my side as well, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe. Stay at home as long as you can. As a small Christmas gift from our side, we would like to tell you about some ways how you can meet people at Christmas digitally without having to go anywhere and without having to risk your health or anyone else's health. So there are some software solutions available like Google Chats,
Yeah,
Google Hangouts, it's called, Alex.
I think it's Google Meet. So
Google Meet.
yeah,
Yes,
it's
sorry.
Google
I
Meet now,
always keep
and
forgetting it.
yeah, it's fine. They changed the names like a bunch of times. And the easiest way to do this for every one of you who, if you have an Android phone, it's mostly guaranteed you have a Gmail account, which is the Google account, and it's completely free. I think it goes up to 25 people in one call. So that is super nice. And what you do is the simplest way, you just go to your Google Calendar. Actually, Google Calendar if you've never been to it. Go to your calendar, put a new meeting in, just invite everyone. They don't have to be a Google subscriber at all or have a Google account. Just put everyone in that calendar event, every email, and then you can just click on add meeting and it will have a meeting. Everyone can join with a link. They just have to click it. It's super simple. That is what I actually use with my family all the time. So if you want to do this, that's obviously one way. But then there's a bunch of other ways, right, Harbir? So I think we talked about, obviously Zoom is one of the other big ones that everybody knows about, and they have a feature as well.
Exactly. I mean, then there's Skype, then there's Facebook Messenger as well. There's WhatsApp on which you can have video calls. A lot of other solutions are available.
Yes, so definitely choose one of these if you want to be connected with friends and family. We'll definitely be using one of these because my brother's actually not in Germany right now. So we'll be having a online meeting and putting him to our Christmas festivities like together. Usually he would fly in, but obviously it's not happening this year. So that is one thing. And hopefully we helped you a little bit. And if you have questions, do feel free to email us. We'll be happy to help you out here because this is the least we can do as a thank you for listening to us.
Exactly. So again, happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you next year. Cool.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the German Masala podcast. We'll be back in 2021. And at this point, a big thank you and heartfelt thank you from myself and I want to say probably also from you, Harbir, right?
Definitely.
For listening to us this entire year. It's been interesting, and I really enjoyed these conversations with you, Harbir. So if you do want to listen to us, we are available on all major platforms, including Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, which if you happen to own a Tesla is also in your Tesla. We also have a YouTube channel where you can actually see some video of us while we're talking also. We try to make it entertaining and a little bit higher quality than last time. But when you find us, please do subscribe. It's free. It's a simple option to never miss an episode. And German Masala is a podcast under the Alex Universe brand, if I kind of call it at this point, which is currently this podcast hosted by Harbir and myself, and a YouTube channel called Alex Universe, where I talk mostly about electric cars and electric bikes and electromobility in general, but it's hosted in German. So if you're rather sticking to English content, definitely stay tuned for our next episode in 2021. Thanks, everyone. Have a great holiday period. We'll see you next year.